stuff straightened out. I don't know if there's anybody watching yet or not, but if there are, let me know if you can hear me, if I was really loud, or if I'm really loud versus the intro music, or vice versa, or whatever. So this is a test. It's not that big of a thing. Just I want to get back on YouTube, and I just don't know exactly how I want to do it. I enjoyed making the videos that I've made, but I just don't have the self-discipline to turn them out like every week, and you don't grow a channel that way. So the live stream doesn't require editing, it doesn't require other things being put on it, so I decided to go with a live stream. And since I'm going to live stream it, I can rip the audio out and use a podcast program to put it up on the podcasts. Like I don't think I can get on iTunes, but I should be able to get on Spotify and iHeartRadio and most of the rest of the big ones. I think you have to pay to get on iTunes, but I'll find out. So first and foremost, before we do a whole lot of getting into the other things, just wanted to say a huge thank you. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, it means so much to me. Thank you so much for everybody who is still subscribed. I've been doing this for a while, but I took a year off, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I took a year off, and I really want to say thank you to everybody who still subscribed, everybody who stuck around, everybody who watched the gaming videos that I have done the last 2 weeks, as well as back at, was it March or so, when I did the top 10 from last year. But that top 10 from last year, that's one of my problems. There was 2 movies that I saw from last year that didn't make the list. So I watched 12 movies from last year, and one of them was somewhat last year and somewhat the year before. Two Witches was actually made like 2 years back. Then it was released to the festival circuit before it got a major streaming release and DVD release. So it was actually a 2-year-old movie, but it beat the other ones that I saw. I just really don't care about anything coming out of Hollywood that's new. They're on a writer's strike right now, and the actors are striking with them, and more power to them. But as far as what I watched, I can't tell. Don't make a bit of difference to me. I don't care anymore. Mostly because it feels like, to me, from my perspective, that everything coming out of Hollywood these days is all agenda-based, is all political propaganda from one side and one side only. Now, movies and horror especially have always been political, and yeah, I do lean pretty far to the right versus what Hollywood's going to have. I've always, on this channel, I have always tried to keep that fairly neutral, but lately it's just gotten to the point that I don't know if I can anymore, and honestly I don't care. If I feel like something is pushing an agenda over story, over entertainment, I'm going to say it from now on. So if that's something that you don't care for, well, first thing you can do is argue with me in the comments, and second thing you can do is delete the channel and move on. You know, unsub if you need to. I'm not putting up with it anymore, even though I'm also not going to be talking about new movies, so it shouldn't be quite as big a deal. I've said from the beginning, you know, you can have a message and I can disagree with you and still enjoy the movie, but if you have an agenda and you start beating me over the head with it, 90% of the time I'm out. 9% of the time your movie's crap and I'm not watching it. So, this little podcast here that I want to do, I don't expect to make any money off of it. I don't expect it to have more subscribers than what I have on YouTube, and I don't expect my channel to blow up overnight because of it. I don't have any of those delusions. This is just because I enjoy movies. I enjoy talking about movies. I have made some really awesome friends here on YouTube, but I don't want to give you guys up. And it feels very one-sided when I'm watching all your videos and commenting on them, but I'm not making any for you to respond to. So, that being said, I have decided to do this podcast. This is almost completely, totally the way my brain works. You're seeing it now unedited. I do bounce around. There's no real narrative to it. I have asked one person to be a co-host. Actually, I've asked two, but I've heard back from one. To be a weekly co-host. This is someone who doesn't have a presence on YouTube at this time, but it's somebody that will hold me accountable and get my butt on here and get this done every week. Which is something that I kind of need. I don't like to disappoint anybody, so I kind of need that. I kind of need somebody to kind of kick my ass when it's time to do it. So, as far as the time off that I took, after I did my 250 subscribers contest, and again, thank you all that subscribed, I had planned on taking a couple of weeks off to get the people off of the channel that subscribed just because I was doing the giveaway versus people who actually wanted to be subscribed to the channel. I did the giveaway drawing with good friends Jen and Christian, and that was wonderful. And then I got really sick. Actually ended up losing my voice. It wasn't the virus, but I really thought that it was, because that's what it hit like. It was bad. But you know, I went through and it took me almost 2 months to get over that and completely get my voice back. About the time that I did, I got a job offer. For those of you that know, I worked at the time in retail. I worked for a Dollar General, and I worked 6 days a week to get 42 hours a week, thereabouts, 40 to 42 hours a week. And this was a weekend job. It was a factory job. I worked at this factory. I go in at 6 p.m. on Friday evening. I get off at 6:30 a.m. on Saturday. I go back Saturday night, and then I go back Sunday. So I worked 3 days, 36 hours total. If you work all of it, you get paid for 40 hours. But it was coming up on the end of the year, the last couple months of the year, and the manager that I had at Dollar General, the company sucks balls bad, but the manager I had was a really awesome lady, and she asked me to stick around, and even though I was doubling my pay working at the factory versus what I was making at DG, she asked me if I would stick around through the holidays. Okay, no problem, you know. Give her time to get somebody hired in, and still have somebody on for Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's that she knew she could depend on. Hey, she was good to me. I was going to be good to her. Well, I ended up working there until July or June of this year, as well as working at the factory. Till it got to the point that I was just so exhausted I couldn't go on. I was working 3 days at the factory and then 3 days at Dollar General, and having 1 day off to get everything done that you need done on a day off. and then get ready to do it all again. So I just went till I was too exhausted to go on, and that meant that I was too exhausted by the time I got home to do anything as far as YouTube went. So I just kind of let it slide. January, February, it kind of slowed down, and I was planning on coming back, and I had some issues with the computer that I had. It was an HP Pavilion. If you know computers, it was a 3200X was the processor on it. It was, or not X, I'm sorry, 3200G. It was integrated graphics on the processor. It was the bottom of the barrel of the previous gen versus what was out, and it just really, every time there was an update to my phone, which is what I was using to film the videos, the film quality got better, the pixel count, frame counts, all that stuff improves. You know, and then you load that onto that computer that had 4 gigs of RAM and a processor that was bottom of the barrel and a generation old, and that computer just couldn't handle it. And then on top of that, my dumbass decided to switch from video pad editing to DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, it screwed everything up. Something in there didn't get along with the programs, and every time I tried to process something, the audio track was off, or the video track was screwy, or whatever. It just didn't work out. So I used that kind of as an excuse to not come back. But I also used it to kick myself in the butt and actually build my own custom PC. There's pictures of it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I painted the case orange, did a video player in the front, custom work on it, and then I put basic components in. Nothing fancy, nothing really out there, just basic stuff. But it's mine, and I did it, and I built it myself. Yeah, it's still kind of the bottom of the barrel of last gen, but the AMD's 5000 series is a whole lot better than AMD's 3000 series was. So, plus this one also has a dedicated graphics card versus integrated graphics, and even with one that doesn't do a whole lot, that isn't leverageable a whole lot when it comes to video processing, at least you can do something with it. And plus it's got plenty of RAM. So I've decided, like I said, I've decided to come back, and I'm going to do it as a podcast. And the way that I want to do it, the reason that I want to do it, this way, one of the reasons anyway, probably the biggest one that motivated me to do this way is, like Spotify and iHeartRadio, I listen to those at work, and their music selections, the way that they do the music on there is crap. It really is. Unless you pay for it, they're just not good. For me, anyway. So I started listening to some podcasts, and of course, the first thing I listened to was Linus Tech Tips and Jay's 2 Cents. But I also found that, I also ventured into the horror podcasts, which, horror is my bread and butter. It's my favorite genre. It's something that I love. One of the first podcasts that I found was from the guys at Severed. If you don't know, Severed is a boutique DVD company, obscure B-movies, shot on video, Italian imports, or world imports for that matter. And their podcast, I listened to it and quite enjoyed it. Now, you have to take their podcast with a grain of salt. Their podcast is specifically designed to talk up what they've got coming for their store for the next month for new releases. You know, to hype you up and make you want to spend money on their website. Which I actually did for their summer sale this year. And I'll show those movies here in a second. But the thing about it is, with them, is these guys love movies. And something that really struck me is they love the movies that they're processing and doing. They just spent, if you know the Black Emmanuel franchise, they just released a DVD set, or actually a Blu-ray set, that goes into 28 movies from that franchise. It's like 15 discs and like over 40 hours of extra special features. And you've got to love movies to put that kind of thing into it, because these are all new, fresh transfers, new, fresh edits, because of, you know, clips from one might not be in clips from another, depending on what country they were going to. Some of the Joe D'Amato directed ones have hardcore sex inserts that were, of course, edited out, and you know, it might have gone in one copy and not in the other. So they wanted to make them as complete as possible, and they spent like 3 years doing this. And that's really cool. But you've got to love movies to do that. And after I got completely caught up with those guys and started searching around for other podcasts that I wanted to listen to while I'm at work. So I'm at work for 12 hours. It gets really old, really repetitive. But I kept finding that every podcast that I would listen to seemed like they were more interested in picking on, trash talking the movies that they were reviewing or discussing. And it's one thing to kind of make fun of bad movies, but it's another thing you've got to be, it's got to be handled a certain way for it to be entertaining. Not everybody is going to be MST3K. Some people can make fun of movies and it be absolutely hysterical and it make you want to see the movie. And most of these just felt like they didn't love the movies. Like they didn't love any of them. Well, you know, even the ones that they claimed to. Oh, this is a bad movie, but I love it, and, you know, and it would just snowball and snowball and snowball into them picking it apart and trash talking it, and it just come off like, you know, after listening to them, here's a movie that I love, going in, I wanted to hear what this person or that person would say about it, and you come out going, I love that movie, but I really don't want to watch it after listening to these assholes. And I really want to start a podcast with a couple people who love movies and like to talk about movies. Is it a good movie? Well, maybe, maybe not, but I like it. Is it a bad movie? You decide. Here's my thoughts on it. I want to sit down and chat with people the way that you would sit down and chat with people. I don't want it to be, you know, I'm not going to list the director and everything that they've ever directed, or the lead actor and everything they've ever been in, and spend time talking about, oh, this actor was in this movie, and that movie was so much better than this one, and then go into details about that movie, when I'm supposed to be talking about the movie that's on the show title. So going forward from tonight, every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, or thereabouts, I'm going to come on here and talk about a movie for 45 minutes to an hour, give or take. That's quote unquote the sweet spot for how long podcasts should be. And I hope to have my co-hosts. But here's the thing. When I got on YouTube, there were certain people who immediately reached out to me and told me I was doing a good job, gave me legitimately constructive criticisms. I have a small stutter. You watch the channel, you know that I and brain freeze, all that sort of stuff, like I'm doing now. It just kind of, I'm just folksy when I talk, and that's the way it comes out. So, yeah, there's a lot of, I'm not the greatest radio voice, and I'm not the greatest personality as far as hosting goes, and some of my early videos are definitely ones that I don't ever want to watch again because, God, did I suck. I'm not good now, but boy, did I suck when I first started this. But I had some people who reached out immediately, some people who I'm great friends with to this day. I don't always agree with them, they don't always agree with me, but here's the thing, we have a civil conversation about it, and sometimes we open each other's eyes. We may not ever see it a different way than what we did before, but we open each other's eyes to an angle that we might have been blind to. And by no means is this list complete. This is off the top of my head, but Jenny Christian, Marty, Ethel, Sean Urshan, Aiden Crew. There's others too. Like I said, this is not inclusive. I have set up a Zoom room. This is all going to be shot and recorded through Zoom and through YouTube, like that. So, yeah, I have a permanent Zoom room set up, and if you guys ever want to pop in, there is a seat open for you. Always and forever, there will be a seat open for you guys. You want to hang out for 30 minutes before the show, hey, let me know. We'll pop in, y'all hang out, leave before the show starts. If you don't leave before the show starts, then you're a guest star. Then you are welcome at any time. That's the only thing. Just pop on into the Zoom and we'll go from there. So, I'm not going to call out the podcasts that I have listened to that either just became movie bashers or they themselves decided to become just as much propaganda as what's coming out of the film industry nowadays. I'm not going to call any of them out. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't go and listen to them. I'm not going to be like that. There's no point in that. You like what you like, and if you like this one, then please, follow, like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff on YouTube and on the podcast and things like that. So, the stuff from Severin Summer Sale. I wanted to go over those because I got these for like half price. And this one is, green screen doesn't like this one, does it? Okay, this one is Primitives. It is a cannibal movie, but unlike most of the 70s, early 80s cannibal movies, this one is has a decidedly different flavor to it. It's actually an Indian, sub-Asiatic, or whatever that is. Anyway, it's Indian made, as in India. This one is one of the very few 4Ks that I have. That one was also on 4K. And damn, for a 70s movie, does that one look good. But so does this one. And this one is Massacre in Dinosaur Valley. I had seen this one before. I hadn't seen Primitives or this other one. This one I had seen before. My buddy Mike Bracken had reviewed it, turned me on to this one, and it is a really good movie. Really enjoy it a lot. It's so much fun. It's kind of if you took Ash, you took a knockoff Ash and made him a paleontologist, and then set him up against cannibals. Michael Sopke is great in it. He is no Bruce Campbell, but he is so much fun. And this one, I'm not going to show the front of the slipcover because PrudeTube hates boobs, as a friend of mine says. But this one is called Invaders of the Lost Gold. Oh, it's not wanting to come up on any of them. All of these were half price. Does it work better over here? No. Anyway, this one I haven't watched that one yet. Invaders of the Lost Gold is kind of an adventure kind of thing, and it has Laura Gemser in it and a few others. It's kind of, the jungle adventure kind of thing. It's not a cannibal, but it's a cannibal movie without the cannibals kind of thing. It definitely has that feel to it. I've seen the trailer and a few other bits. It just looked fun, and again, half price. So, I kind of think that's about it for tonight. Hopefully, I've got all my settings right. Hopefully, when I watch this back, it'll look okay. Hopefully, the green screen works the way I want it to, and hopefully, there's not too much drag and delay on the stream. So, yeah, that's kind of my first episode here, and I'm going to kind of say goodnight at this time. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and as always, y'all be good, y'all be safe, and y'all have a good one.